Hey there guys, how's it going? Back with another video. So, yeah, if any of you guys were wondering why I haven't been very active on this channel, I haven't really uploaded anything to YouTube within the past couple of weeks. Basically, about a week and a bit ago, I came down with a horrible illness, and initially I thought it was maybe just the flu because it's that time of year. However, I've had the flu before, and I can tell you right now, this was something a heck of a lot worse. I have not felt this bad in many years. Basically, for over the course of a week, I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep. I mean, my stomach, my gut was in excruciating pain. I couldn't even speak. Every time I tried to speak, I would just cough like non-stop, coughing my guts up. I mean, my head was just on absolute fire the whole time, and because I couldn't sleep and because I couldn't eat, I was insanely irritable. And the other day, I even tried to make a video, and it didn't turn out very well, so I just forgot. I just never bothered uploading it, man. So as you can see, I've still got a bit of a cough, but I feel a heck of a lot better now. Like I tell you right now, I couldn't even this time yesterday, I couldn't sit here making this video. In the past 24 hours, I've healed up quite a lot. So, but it took over a week. So I don't even know what it was that was wrong with me. It must have been some sort of viral infection. But thankfully, it seems to be clearing up now, and yeah, I can get back to uploading, man. So yeah, I've got a few projects I'm working on for this and my other channel. So let's get talking about the upcoming fight this weekend. I wanted to do a video about this fight weeks ago. However, like I said, stuff got in the way. But yeah, let's talk about it. So it's the rematch. Anthony Joshua taking on taking on Andy Ruiz Jr. in the rematch. Um, this is, well, who would have thought a year ago that Anthony Joshua would be in this position? I don't think any of us would. I mean, now obviously you guys that have been following my channel, really sorry guys, uh, obviously you guys that have been following my channel will know that when I did my prediction video for the first fight, I didn't give Andy Ruiz Jr. much of a chance. Like most people, like pretty much everybody. I mean, Andy Ruiz was what, a 30-1 underdog. He took the fight on a few weeks' notice, and I, as along with pretty much every boxing fan out there, didn't give the guy a chance because I just felt the circumstances were against him. I felt that stylistically it was a fight that didn't suit him. I was thinking back to previous opponents that they've both fought, like for example Kevin Johnson, who went the distance with Ruiz and gave him a tough fight, who got blown away in 2 rounds by Anthony Joshua. Joseph Parker, who of course managed to beat Ruiz in a close fight, but beat him, was a genuine winner. And of course Anthony Joshua. I actually thought Parker beat Joshua too, but Joshua got the decision, and I felt that Joshua was a little bit more effective at sort of neutralizing Parker's offense than Ruiz was. I just felt that Ruiz, from what I saw in the Parker fight, although he was having some success coming forward, I don't really think, or I didn't think at the time, that he had really shown the aggression or the resilience to really break down somebody like Joshua. Now, obviously, that all went pear-shaped because we all ended up with egg on our face. Andy Ruiz, of course, proved us all wrong. Now, whenever this happens, and sadly this is the boxing community on YouTube, man, and it brings out the worst type of people, doesn't it? It brings out, do you know the type of people it brings out, right? It brings out the know-it-alls, these people who know everything. They're all-knowing individuals, and it's funny, these guys, they have perfect hindsight, don't they? They might have tunnel vision when it comes to seeing things that are happening right in front of them or things that are going to happen in the near future. But when it comes to things that have already happened, these guys have absolutely amazing and perfect hindsight. You see these guys will come on your channel, guys that have never even commented before. Say you predict the fight, like I predicted Ruiz versus Joshua. I said that Joshua was going to win, and people in the comments, like these little roasters with 0 subscribers, 0 videos, they've never made any content, never made any predictions, and they come in the comment section like, you don't know know shit about boxing. You said that Joshua was going to win. Ha ha ha. And it's just this, that, and the other. It's you suck. You don't know shit about boxing. And it was the same shit that happened with when I did my prediction for Tony Bellew against David Haye. Again, another fight. David Haye was like what, a 10-1 favorite in the fight. You had every single person picking him to win the fight by knockout. There wasn't a single person alive that gave Bellew more than a 30% chance of winning that fight. It was considered a mismatch. All right, and I thought it was a mismatch, and I broke down specifically why I felt David Haye was going to win. Obviously, there were unforeseen factors, unforeseen circumstances that I didn't know, like David Haye having some pretty severe injuries that I didn't know about, and his body basically falling apart through training camp. But that's all here and there. That's in the past. But it's a circumstance that many of us weren't able to predict. And then when Tony Bellew ultimately won the fight, again you had all these same roasters, these same little ghost accounts with 0 views and 0 subscribers coming on your channel. You said that Haye was going to win. You don't know shit about boxing. You don't know anything. You should shut your channel down. You shut your channel down because you don't know shit. And then you ask these guys, right? You go in the comments and you say, you ask these guys, all right, well, where's your prediction? It's crickets. You don't hear nothing. Or you say to them, like, because they don't upload videos, and you say, well, why don't you send me a link to the comments that you left saying that Tony Bellew was going to win? Show me the comments you left breaking down how Andy Ruiz was going to stop Anthony Joshua. No, because there were no comments, right? Because you didn't pick Ruiz to win, did you? Right? You picked Joshua to win, just like everybody else. All right? You picked David Haye to beat Tony Bellew, okay? Just like I did, just like anybody else, okay? Just hold your hands up, all right? Instead of having this 2020 hindsight, right? It's like you're watching. See, when you watch these TV shows like The Apprentice and shit, a very very popular show here in the UK, and then basically when everything goes wrong and somebody loses the task, everybody's like becomes Mr. Know-It-All, and they've all got perfect hindsight, and they all know what should have been done at the time, but they didn't do it at the time, if you know what I mean. Nobody stepped up at the time. Well, that's what it's like here in the boxing community. So that's my little rant on the little know-it-all roasters that you get in the comment section. I'm sure some of them will be offended. Good, I like offending these people, because these people are scum. But yeah, respectfully, and God bless. Let me get to my actual breakdown, because it's taken me too long. How do I think this fight's going to go? Let's just say that I think this fight is going to depend on a multitude of things, a multitude of factors. Now, the first fight, I made the point that I didn't think that Andy Ruiz had the durability or basically the ferocity to really get to somebody like Anthony Joshua, because I'd seen him against guys like Parker, where he wasn't really able to put a dent in Parker. His fight against Kevin Johnson, where again he wasn't able to put a dent in Kevin Johnson. He wasn't able to put a dent in Sergey Lakovic. Some of these guys have been knocked out before. I've seen Andy Ruiz fight against guys who have been knocked out in the first round, and I've seen him go the distance. Like Sergey Lakovic. So I never thought that Ruiz had that type of power or that type of ferocity. Now, that begs the question, does he have that type of power and ferocity? Or was there something wrong with Anthony Joshua? Now, there were a lot of excuses that came from Joshua's camp. If not excuses, then maybe legitimate reasons for why he might have not been fully prepared. But at the end of the day, if those things were true, then potentially it would have made sense to pull out of the fight. Like, one of the things we heard was that Joshua was concussed. Well, if Joshua was concussed, then it makes no sense why he went through with the fight. Surely if he had a concussion, then he would have, he would have, what's the word I'm looking for? He would have pulled out of the fight, and he would have rescheduled. That's the word I was looking for. He would have rescheduled the fight. But they went through with it. So, if Anthony Joshua and his whole team agreed to go through with the fight, then it can't have been that bad. It's not like David Haye, where I mean, the dude was literally falling apart and needed the money and whatnot. Anthony Joshua is one of the biggest draws in boxing right now. The guy's huge. Okay, so yeah, I think that I don't really know how much stock to put into those rumors. What I did point out in my post-fight review for the fight, though, is what I do think happened, and I do think that this is a legitimate factor, a contributing factor as to why he lost. Let's not forget Anthony Joshua was doing very well in the fight, and let's not forget Anthony Joshua scored a knockdown. However, when he scored that first knockdown, I think something really negative happened to him. And I think he got excited and overly emotional in there, overly animated. And I don't think that he respected or recognized the threat coming from Ruiz. And I think that Anthony Joshua sort of blew his load. I compared it in that video to Sergey Kovalev when he did the same thing against Alvarez. When he sort of blew his load early and ended up getting stopped. That to me is a similar situation, in my opinion, as to what could have happened with Joshua, because as far as I'm concerned, Anthony Joshua has shown in the past that he might not be the most, mentally mature in the ring. When he fought Klitschko, he sort of froze up mentally in the fifth round and then got dropped in the next round. And I think that he showed a little bit of mental fragility there. He showed a little bit of immaturity in the ring, like when he fought Dillian White, for example. He had some success and he got all smug and ended up letting himself get caught with that big counter. And that left hook caught him, and he was just it wiped the smugness off his face, and he almost paid for it that night. He almost got stopped in that second round. So Anthony Joshua has shown a little bit of emotional immaturity in the ring in fights, and that could have been what caused him to gas out so quickly against Ruiz. He could have, believed his own bullshit, his own hype a little bit too much. Now, obviously, you've got to credit Ruiz in the sense that he was able to bring that out of Joshua. He was able to take the fight to Joshua. He was able to survive being knocked down, and he was able to outlast Anthony Joshua in that situation. Now, did the location of the fight make much of a difference? Personally, I don't think so. To be fair, it was Anthony Joshua's first time fighting away from home as a professional, but Anthony Joshua as an amateur did fight all over the world. I mean, he fought in the Amateur World Championships, I believe. Was that in Azerbaijan or somewhere like that? He fought in the Amateur World Championships in other countries. I know that. So I don't really think he had no international experience at all, and I don't really think it was the crowd an issue, because a lot of the crowd were Brits anyway, weren't they? So yeah, I know there was a contingent supporting Ruiz, but there was definitely a loud contingent of British fans supporting Joshua. So I don't think that was a psychological problem to do with being away from home or anything like that. And I mean, is it going to be any different fighting in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia? I mean, he's not going to have a whole lot of support there, is he? So I don't think that that's going to make much of a difference this time. What I think this fight's going to mostly come down to, in my opinion, what it's mostly going to come down to, depending on the outcome, I think that Anthony Joshua, can he or can he not keep Andy Ruiz on the outside at the end of a jab? And can he keep his cool? Even if Ruiz is able to trouble Joshua, even if he's able to get inside, land a body shot, land an overhand right, or something like that, is Joshua going to be able to keep his cool and not panic and not freeze up like he did against Klitschko? Not freeze up like he did against Dillian White in the second round? Can he keep his cool? Can he keep his composure? You look at a famous example of heavyweight that was always able to keep his cool. You look at Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko learned very early on in his career, when he had those knockout defeats, how to keep his cool in a fight. And in the latter part of his career, when he would get caught, even when he was fighting a big puncher, when he would get caught, like against a Kubrat Pulev or a David Haye or someone, he instinctively would hold. Not just holding for the sake of holding, but holding when he knew that he was staggered. And if he wouldn't hold after getting caught, then he would give you sort of a side profile, and he would stick the jab in your face and use it to keep you at bay. Like, he instinctively knew what to do when he was hurt. He didn't panic, which is the point I'm trying to make. Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, seems to panic a little bit when he gets hit. And I've seen this same problem with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. They have this same issue. When they get hit in fights, they tend to panic. Except that those two seem to be a little bit more comfortable with it. And the reason why I say that is because they have definitely a lot more natural athletic ability than Joshua, in the sense that they have more stamina. They have a higher lung capacity, so they are able to ride out a situation a lot more than Joshua is. Like, a guy like Wilder can get hit and hurt, and he sort of freezes up and doesn't know what to do and looks like a rabbit in headlights, but he's able to at least tough it out because he has the stamina and a better chin than Joshua, to be able to just ride out that type of situation. Same with Tyson Fury. Again, Tyson Fury gets hit. He's been down several times, but he's always been able to get back up and, claw his way through a fight. He's never been stopped. Anthony Joshua, I guess, is more akin, not quite as extreme, but he's more akin to a David Price or a Frank Bruno in that sense, in the sense that it doesn't seem to have that next level stamina to get him out of a situation like that. So that's always going to be a concern with Joshua, even if he does win this fight. But I think that against Andy Ruiz, he has the perfect opportunity here to prove that he's learned from his mistakes, because I genuinely do think that you look at the way the first fight was going, right? And you look at the way that he was outboxing Ruiz in the first couple of rounds, like, at least from what I saw. The fact that he knocked Ruiz down clinically, that was a beautiful knockdown, set up brilliantly against a very tough guy in Ruiz. And I just felt that if Joshua had stayed on the back foot and kept to his boxing, he probably would have stopped Ruiz. I really do think he could have. But he got excited, just like Kovalev against Eleider Alvarez, where he blew his load. It was the same situation with Joshua, in my opinion. Now, Joshua has been losing a lot of weight, according to a lot of photos that we've seen and whatnot, and a lot of people have speculated that the weight loss might help him in the rematch. It's definitely a possibility that it could, but at the same time it could also go the other way, because obviously if he's losing weight, it really depends on how much weight he loses, because it's not as if Anthony Joshua is fat. No, he's a very muscular, like, bodybuilder type, and the last thing he wants to do is to be, like, eating away at his muscle. Like, the last thing he wants to do is to be losing too much weight, because we know that can affect your stamina in a negative way and also affect his chin and durability. But it could improve his mobility and his speed, and he might not be, he might be a little bit easier on his legs and whatnot, and his lung capacity to not be carrying around and lugging around so much muscle. So it could potentially help him. I think in the long run, it's probably going to do more good than it does harm, because I do think what he needs in this fight is a good pair of legs. He needs a good quick jab. And Anthony Joshua in the early part of his career had good movement. He had a good jab. Okay, go and look at some of Joshua's amateur fights. Okay, he wasn't slow. He wasn't cumbersome. Okay, he was fairly fast and fairly athletic. All right, it wasn't until he got with Rob McCracken that I started to notice him starting to get, more, just more sluggish and more robotic. Earlier in his career, he was a little bit quicker. Earlier in his career, he was a little bit sharper. And I think that there could be a few changes that he could make to try and bring that sort of Anthony Joshua back. A few changes that he could make which would suit him in this fight. And if he's able to keep Ruiz on the outside, if he's able to keep his cool this time and just stick to his boxing, I honestly don't see how he loses. Now, obviously, I'm not writing Ruiz off. I made that mistake in the first fight. It was a silly thing to do. I should have taken into consideration that Ruiz, despite not being a great fighter, in my opinion, had never really been convincingly beaten before. I thought Joseph Parker beat him legitimately, but it wasn't like a conclusive, like, dominant victory or anything. So it's not like Ruiz had any miles on the clock. He didn't. But I just felt that since he took the fight on short notice, and since I'd seen him against same type of opponents Joshua had fought not look as impressive, I didn't give him much of a chance. But I'm not going to do that here, because I think Ruiz does have a very good chance. And I think Ruiz is going to be a lot more prepared this time round than he was the first time. Some people have expressed concerns that Ruiz might be a one-hit wonder, like a Buster Douglas or a Hasim Rahman. Like he might have, not being able to top his previous performance. Like he had a great performance, but might not be able to top it because a lot of fighters who win world titles against a legend, like Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson, can't top their performance next time out, and they end up getting stopped. But I don't think that'll be the case with Ruiz, in the sense that I don't think that he will go off the rails and all of a sudden not be as good. I think he will be better this time, because this time he's had a full camp. This time he's going to be in shape. This time he's going to be motivated because he knows it's not just a payday. This time he knows he can win against Anthony Joshua. So I'm expecting a great fight. I think this is going to be a great fight. Would I say it's a 50-50? No, I still think Anthony Joshua is overall the more talented fighter of the two. Overall, he is the better fighter. He's the bigger puncher. He has better punching technique. Defensively, I'd say they're about equal. But Ruiz, to me, has a much better chin. Ruiz has much better stamina. Ruiz has quicker feet. Ruiz has quicker hands. Joshua has, the natural height and reach advantage, which could help him. But that's what he needs to focus on, in my opinion. And I think that this is the last chance, in my opinion, for Anthony Joshua to be considered one of the top heavyweights. If he loses this fight, Anthony Joshua is pretty much done at this level, and I think he's probably going to have to go back to the drawing board and rebuild, because, let's not forget, he was somewhat fast-tracked as a heavyweight, so he didn't really have, the long time, area level to British level, Commonwealth level, European level, semi-world level to world level experience. He didn't have the classical British fighter development, from being a prospect to a world champion. He was basically a gold medalist with little amateur experience, who was fast-tracked into winning a world title. So I think Anthony Joshua, he if he loses this fight, he definitely should go back to the drawing board. And I don't think he should be seeking a third fight. But I find it quite honourable that he took the rematch, because a lot of people were telling him not to take the rematch. So credit to Anthony Joshua for taking the rematch. And win, lose or draw, I just hope it's a good fight, man. So I'm going to stick my neck out again, because that's what I do on here, okay? I like to make predictions. That's what makes this boxing talk on the internet fun, is to make predictions and see if we get them right or not. And yeah, the little roasters and the "you don't know shit about boxing" come along in the comment section, but I don't care. Alright, you're just giving me more views, alright, so go ahead. But yeah, I'm going to stick my neck out here, and I'm going to say Anthony Joshua wins this fight on points. I'm going to say this fight's very close, that it's back and forth, and a stoppage wouldn't surprise me either way, but I think the more likely outcome is Anthony Joshua sticks to his boxing, keeps Ruiz on the outside and just sticks the jab in his face, looks to set up the right hand, and wins a very close unanimous decision. That's what I think might happen here. So I'm going to go with Anthony Joshua by decision. Let me know what you guys think. Again, sorry for the lack of videos, but yeah, I'm back on track now. I'm going to be uploading regularly again. Thanks for watching, guys, and God bless every one of you.